Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us over your lunch hour today for another one of our WESC webinars. My name is Lola Adebogan, and I am WESC Marketing and Admin Assistant. Today, we have Jacqueline Almeida, owner of Alpha and Omega Strategies. If you have any questions for Jacqueline as we go through the presentation, please feel free to submit them in the Q&A box, not the regular chat box. However, do feel free to use the regular chat box to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business. And as always, this webinar is being recorded and will be available for on-demand viewing. You'll receive an email in your inbox tomorrow with a link to the recording. With that, I'll pass it over to Jacqueline to now begin the presentation.
Hello, Lola, and hello to everybody who is attending. I am very excited about our topic. And before we get started though, Lola, can you give me some guidance? Do I share my screen or is it already up? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You have to now share the PowerPoint. Yeah.
I'll share it then?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so now, okay, here we go.
Perfect.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, let's get started, everybody, because we have such a short period of time. I'm very excited. But first, before we get started, I'd just like to acknowledge the land where we're gathering is Treaty 6 territory, the traditional land of the Cree people and the homeland of the Métis Nation. Like I said, I am very excited about the topic we're going to be addressing in the next little while. I want to make sure that I leave enough time for Q&A to answer any of the questions that you have. But before we get started, I have a few questions that I'd like you to consider. Please feel free to write down your answers on a piece of paper, or if you feel comfortable and you want to share with everybody, please do so. Participation is vital, and your answer to these questions will help you assess where you are at. So here we go. The first question that I have for you, I would like you to consider, where do you see your business at the end of 10 years? So if you would be able to fast travel 10 years from today into the future, what do you see happening and where is it that you have landed? I'm going to give you about 20 seconds to please write that down because this is a very important question. You got about another 10 seconds, please, to answer this question. It's not an easy one to answer. All right, the second question that I would like you to answer is, what impact is your business making? In other words, when you think about the people that you are wanting to serve, what is the impact? Like, again, not right now, but 10 years from now, when you're able to see your business, what is the impact that it is making? I'm going to give you another 10 seconds, 20 seconds to do that. All right. Here we go. The next question that I would like you to answer is this. What are the current, that's right now, the current obstacles that are getting in the way of making not the future of the next year or 6 months or 2 years, but what are the current obstacles getting in the way of making that future impact in 10 years? I'm going to give you 20 seconds to write those down and just list them out in point form. Like I said, these are very, very extremely important questions to ask yourselves when you're considering vision and when you're considering the future. And please note, vision are not goals. These are not 10-year goals. No, vision is completely different than that. And we will be addressing that as well. Okay, the fourth question that I want you to think about is, how much time and money would you save if these obstacles weren't in the way? So what do you believe when you think about the obstacles that you have, how much time and money would you save if these obstacles weren't in the way currently right now? In other words, if these obstacles were in the way, how much quicker would you get to your goal? Instead of 10 years, would it be 8 years? Would it be 6 years? And if these obstacles weren't in the way, how much money would you be saving in order to get to that vision sooner, quicker? I'm going to give you another 20 seconds. We've got about another 5 seconds. All right. The last question that I have for you is I would like you to write down a dollar value of how much you would invest. Overall, how much money would you invest if you could get rid of those obstacles? If you could, as a matter of fact, if you could get to where you want to go, that future much quicker, how much money would you like to invest? And just put that down somewhere. I've been training and coaching people in the leadership field for the last 25 years, and it has been so much fun. A little bit about myself. I am originally from New York City, but I've been living here in Saskatchewan for 28 years. It'll be 28 years in August. And I absolutely love everything related to leadership. I actually ended up getting my Master of Arts in Leadership and Management a very long time ago, and I didn't even know why I was drawn to it. And in retrospect, I realized that everything that I've done from the time that I was in grade 1 was always about leadership. But they say that there are those that lead. They're leaders, which are all about the role, and then there are those that lead. And I really do believe that there is a big difference between leaders that have a role, that have a position, and then those that lead. Now, in the last 25 years, I said I have found that there are 2 foundational qualities of absolutely all great leaders. And these 2 qualities, over and above any other, create 2 things. The first thing is that they create businesses that thrive. And all of us want those businesses that thrive. So they create businesses that thrive. And then the second thing is that they create fulfilled team players. Great leaders do those 2 things. They create thriving businesses, but they also create fulfilled team players. When we have great leadership, when we have these 2 things, we win no matter what. Imagine, most leaders end up either putting a lot of their time in the thriving of their business, but very little in the thriving of their people, in the fulfillment of the people, or they do vice versa, or they think they have to compromise on either or. But great leaders understand that it's the success of both of these, the achievement of both of these things that allows them to succeed. So I really do believe that these 2 traits are well worth paying attention to, and they are worth us becoming. These 2 foundational qualities that these leaders have that are allow these 2 things to happen. But let's remember, please, that we all want successful businesses. But success is not something that can be that can actually be pursued. It's something that we must develop. Success is the byproduct of 3 things: persistence, it's the byproduct of intentionality, it's the byproduct of holding ourselves as leaders to a higher standard in our character. When this happens, it's only then that the roles switch. Instead of us trying to pursue success begins to pursue us. And who doesn't want that, right? So what are these 2 foundational qualities that great leaders have? And that's what I want to share with you. The first one is that they have a very clear vision of the future in a 1 simple sentence, just 1 simple statement. They have a very clear vision. That's, in other words, where it is that I'm going. Yesterday, well, actually, every time that I am I'm doing a presentation, I start off by asking the leaders to tell me what is their vision. And over the last 25 years that I've been doing this, I can tell you this: I've only had 2 leaders that have actually said, "This is it." The majority of leaders have had very difficult time telling me what is the vision that they have for their future. But great leaders have a very clear vision of the future in one simple statement. And then the other thing, which I think is absolutely admirable, is that they know how to invite people into the vision, moving them skillfully from where they are, from where they currently are, to where they will be better. Now, notice that the word that I'm using there is that they know how to use this skillfully. They know how to invite people into their vision skillfully, and that is the number one thing. So let's talk about the first quality. I've learned that we all have a very small window, a short time frame to get from where we are to where we want to go in our business. It's a very short time frame. And because it's so small, we need to be very clear as to where we want to go, because the question that vision answers all the time is not what, it's not why, it's not how, it is where we're landing. So where we want to go, we have to know where we want to go. We have to know, be very clear as to what we do. And believe it or not, there's so many people that do not know how to effectively and succinctly talk about what they do. We have to know what is the impact that we want to make, and how do I and others fit into this vision. We need to be very clear about this so that we're not wasting time, we're not wasting energy, we're not wasting needless amount of money. We need our time and we need our energy, especially to grow, to move, to focus into the future growth and development of our business. What usually happens, however, is that because we don't have a vision, or we don't have a clear vision, our vision is too fuzzy, or it's unclear, or it's too lengthy, which is usually what happens. It may not be necessarily that you don't know where you want to go. It's just that it's too lengthy as you try to explain it. Well, the result of that, there are several results that I want us to think about. The first result of having a fuzzy, unclear, or a very lengthy ability to say what it is, where it is that we really want to go, is that we tend to focus on short-term goals and gains. We unintentionally neglect setting ourselves up for the long term because we're too busy. We're too busy with immediate situations. We're too busy with projects. We're too busy with immediate ideas. We're too busy with immediate needs. Our effort then goes into achieving what we want for the near future, the short term, the now. And then unfortunately, we neglect what really matters, which are the long-term results that we want from our business. The goals and objectives that we need to be working on right now, setting us up for the future gains, that 10-year, 15-year, 20-year vision of the future. And as a result, that creates, please listen to this, that creates a culture of immediacy and urgency. And here's what happens when we create a culture of immediacy and urgency. Problems arise, because they do, no matter what. Even when you have that vision, problems arise. But here's the difference. We tend to perceive them to be urgent because we're focusing on the short term. And then another problem arises, and then another, and then another. And eventually, because we're so focused on the immediacy and urgency of the short term, we end up falling into the habit of crisis management, which gives us the illusion that we're progressing. It gives us the illusion that we're growing. It gives us the illusion that we're advancing. But in fact, it is keeping us stuck in the short term. What's worse is that we're creating a self-sabotaging habit. And in this space of self-sabotage, because of crisis, because we're solving this problem, we solve that problem and that one, and all of a sudden we start feeling like we are amazing problem solvers, which could be the case, but in this space, we tend to feel very important, valuable, powerful, because it feels, again, perception is everything. We feel like we're moving forward, but are we really moving forward? Are we really reaching that vision? Most likely not, because we don't know if we're getting closer, because we're fuzzy about it. We're unclear. It's too lengthy. Clear, simple, and succinct vision allows us to know which problems actually need our attention and actually need solving, as opposed to solving all the problems that are here that we are making sure that we address. Any other kind of problem outside of the vision we are able to identify as just distractions. Can you imagine how much time, energy, and money that alone would save us, would save you? When we don't have a vision, we are uncertain of whether our effort, our energy, our financial resources, the ones that we're investing in solving the problems, are actually getting us any closer to the vision that we would like for our future, for our business. Number 2, we spread ourselves too thin. We experiment, I would say we experiment and spread ourselves and our business too thin. We start taking on this project and we start taking on that project and we start growing in this area and growing in that area and trying this and trying that, hoping, please notice this, hoping that we are on the right path. What we're doing is expecting that the projects, the ideas, all these things that we're trying, we're hoping that they might take us, give us the direction that we need. So we're hoping that these projects, these ideas, these new things that we're trying with will lead us to what we're really about, that future, when in fact it needs to be the other way around. Vision must mandate and precede the projects and the experimentation and whatever else we take on. And that leads us to our third point. Lack of a clear, simple, succinct vision creates mind clutter. It creates disorder. It creates disorganization. And eventually that spills over to our processes, that spills over to our systems, to our procedures, to our culture, and more importantly, it spills into our message. When we are unclear and in disorder in our minds, right in here, it spills over to everything. Everything. Suddenly, we're falling short on following up with clients. We're falling short on emails. We forget our appointments. We double book appointments. We're late. We start to promise things, overpromise things that we know that we can't meet. And that affects our reputation. That begins to affect our credibility. That begins to affect our bottom line. Because we put our business into question, because we as leaders are unable to know that vision, that clarity, bring order in here. Because the moment we put order in here and organization here, everything starts to flow from there. When we are unclear, it spills over. So I was talking to a very driven entrepreneur just this week. She recently set up her business, and she was so enthusiastic about her business. And she was telling me all about how busy she is, about how full her calendar was, how great her team was doing, wonderful. Everything was great. But while I was talking to her, she couldn't fully be present. So as I was talking to her, she was kind of looking over this way and she was kind of looking at that way. And then her phone was ringing and then she was looking behind her. So as I was sharing a little bit about what I do and asking her some questions, she could not fully be present. So I asked her, what do you think is one of your biggest issues, your biggest challenges that you're dealing with right now, just right now? And immediately, without hesitating, just like that, she says, time, Jacqueline. Time. She had fallen into the trap of the short term. She had fallen into the trap of spreading herself too thin and her business too thin. And she had fallen into the trap of mental, right here, that brain, mind disorder and disorganization. All the 3 points that I just mentioned to you. We went into further conversation and she realized, you know what, Jacqueline, I need to have further conversations with you because I am everything that you are describing. Everything that you are describing. And I just imagined if I had been a client or if I had been somebody that I'm relying on her and I saw all this happening, It would make me question her credibility and reputation. That's exactly what we do. Vision allows us to stay focused, remain in alignment, gives us direction. This leads me to my fourth point here. Eventually, it translates a watered down, an unclear, a messy mind, and a culture translates in less sales affecting your bottom line, and everyone around you feels it. You might not feel it, but everybody else around you feels it. And when that happens, what we tend to do is we tend to now, okay, you know what, we need to bring in more sales. So what's the first thing we start doing? We bring in marketing and we bring in branding. And although I truly believe in marketing and branding, they are certainly important to our business, but we move into this direction very hastily, hoping that they will solve our revenue and profit problems, leaving the responsibility to the marketing and branding tools when in fact we are still the sales leaders. And the marketing and branding tools have to be empowering the vision. In other words, the vision is there because we are so clear about that. We're so clear about our mission. We are so clear about our values because we are so clear about that. Then the branding and the marketing come in as the tool that empowers everything. Do you see the difference? I've worked with businesses over and over again that after having invested so much in these tools, they realize that they're not in alignment with their company, with their vision, and they have to go back and work on these again. Or what's worse is that they start forcing these tools into the vision. And the thought is, you know what, we've already invested in these tools, so I guess we're now set on this. The fifth one is that you begin to see less passion. The vision of our company is what pushes us. The vision is what pulls us. When it's not there, unfortunately, we start losing momentum. We start losing our passion. And what we started to do with our business, suddenly we realize that it's a job just like any other because it's not pushing us. It's not pulling us. You hear the words of, well, same old, working and dealing with staff and with teams. And suddenly that passion is gone. It is lost. Vision does and creates all of this. So the leadership number one trait, quality is that clear one sentence vision of where you want your business to go. Number one. And let me say this, it's very hard to do that on our own. It's very hard to do this on our own. The second leadership quality is number two, is know how to invite people into that vision, moving them from where they are to where they will be better. Because let me say this, a business focused growth trajectory really depends largely on the ability and dedication of its hired employees and people to turn that vision into reality. When vision is absent, employees are not on the same page. Usually what happens is that you start seeing that employees are working for you, but they are there only for a paycheck. And the moment that they are there for a paycheck, you see that they do the minimal and there's lack of enthusiasm. You see that there's lack of energy, ideas, and creativity. You start seeing that they are witnessing clock watching. You start seeing absenteeism, and you start seeing complacency. And we got to ask ourselves, why do we hire people in the first place? The reason why we hire people in the first place is because we are aware that we need help. We are aware that we are growing. And so when we hire people, the whole thing that most entrepreneurs forget is we hire people so that they gave us the space, or they themselves gives us opportunity for a 40% increase in revenue. 40% increase in revenue. That's why we hire them. But when we end up having a bad hire, it actually ends up costing us up to 30% of that person's first year wage. 30%. So if you've got a calculator, take your calculator and start put in a number of one of your employees. Let's say that they are making 30 to 35,000. Put that in and times it by 0.30%. You will see how much you're actually paying them, because you have to add that number to the actual wage that you are giving to them. Every employee needs to give us, according to Forbes and Harvard Business Review, they need to be giving us a 40% revenue. That's a lot. So let me share this. Unfortunately, 46% of hires by their 18th month anniversary fail to be bringing anything close to the 40% revenue. And that is not their fault. That is ours as the leaders of our business, who have not that have not inspired those employees into understanding the business vision, how they fit in, what is their contribution, so that they can begin joining in with us with that vision. I get so passionate about this because I see this over and over and over again with entrepreneurs, those that are just starting up or those that have been in the business for long periods of time. I see this over and over again. According to I believe it is, according to Entrepreneur Insider, 63% of employees don't know what their business vision is. They don't know what the business is trying to do, why they're doing it, and where they'll end up after everything is said and done. If that is happening, again, you are missing out on the potential of human capacity of the people that you have brought in to work with you. And you are focusing on the immediate. You're focusing on the urgency of the now. So, and I just want to say this, it's no wonder that so many businesses don't prosper to their full potential, or worse, or in worst case scenarios, they vanish. It's no wonder. It's also no wonder that a lot of employees start feeling like a means to an end with businesses eventually. Like I am just being used for my services to expand on what your priority is, and not unnecessarily on what I would like for my life as well. And that's why I say it is two things. Great business leaders, what they do is ensure that the organization, their business is thriving, but also that their people are also growing, so that the employee does not feel like they're means to an end, like they are, and start to feel disempowered. Nobody likes to feel disempowered at work. Nobody likes to feel like they are being just used for a service. No one does. And the last thing you want is to have your employees perceive that what they do is really not that important or valuable. And that's how employees start seeing things, when they're not able to know how their contribution works towards the vision. Okay. So what I want to say is that some of you might be thinking to yourselves, well, now that I know this, I'm going to start working on my vision. I need to start working on my vision. I need to know how to do that. I need to create something. Can you figure your vision out on your own? And I would say you could possibly try, but let me say this. I have done this for so long, and I know that it is very difficult to do. You are far too close. You are far too close to, oh, sorry. You are far too close to what you are doing to figure out what are the questions that you want to ask yourself. You're far too close to pull in from within you the whatever it is you need to pull out and unlayer, so that you're able to go back to why it was that you started your vision in the first place. And remember, it's not necessarily the why, it's where you're going to go, where you're going to land. You're too close to create that and do that for yourself. You don't know what you don't know. So again, you don't know the questions that you want to ask yourself. And sometimes in the rush of, the urgency again, because we've fallen prey to the urgency of getting to know what my vision is, we become too hasty with figuring out or putting a vision together. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. when I work with entrepreneurs, what I do, and here's a little bit for you to know. When I work with entrepreneurs, I work with them on creating not only the vision, the mission, but also the values. And it's a program that I'm offering right now. And I try to do it as a group. I meet with you in a matter of 6 sessions, usually 2 times a month. 2 times a month, and we work together. Some people prefer to do it this individually, and I can do that individually or sometime as a group. I am having a program right now that I will be doing as a group, July 6th and 20th, as you see the dates there, the time from 7:30 to 9 a.m. in the morning. And what I do is I reel and pull everything that I need to from you so that we can work on getting that vision. But I also train you. I train you on how to do this because I'm a firm believer that not only do we need to have a vision for our business, but that every project that you have needs to have a vision so that people jump in. You need to create that buy-in for your people. So I train you how to do that as well. And so what I'd like you to consider is this program, but I want us to leave some room for questions. I know that some of you are going to be asking, well, how much is this then? If you're going to be doing that, how much is it? And it's $27.90 plus GST. That's what I asked for, the 3 months of commitment. You can't rush into this. It can't be done any sooner than that. It is truly that 3 months. By the time we're in our 5th or 6th session, you've got it. You've got it. And you're like, yes, I've got it. I know it. I love it. I love it. I'm inspired. And the moment that happens, you'll be able to then move to the future that you want. You'll be able to solve your problems. You'll be able to know what priority of problems you want to solve. You'll be able to have a clearer message. Your processes, systems, and procedures, everything will have clarity. It will make all the difference in the world. And now I would love to hear if you have any questions. I want to say thank you for this time because, like I said, I could continue talking because this is what I am so passionate about because I really believe in it. As a matter of fact, when COVID hit last year, I've only started my business 3 years ago. I've been doing leadership training for the longest time, but I only really started my business 3 years ago. And I remember it was so very difficult to figure out what am I going to do with my business. And I remember thinking, well, what do I tell my clients on a regular basis? What do I tell my clients? And I always tell them you need to have a vision. So I was forced to actually work on my vision, and it took me just as long. And I'm the person that does this on a regular basis. But the moment I got my vision for Alpha and Omega strategy, let me tell you, it pulls me, it pushes me, it keeps me focused and aligned. And this is my vision for Alpha and Omega strategies. This is it. It's simple. It's one sentence. I can tell you the story all the time. It's a movement of awakened leaders worth following. A movement of awakened leaders worth following. Everything I do every day, I woke up this morning and I thought, today I am about awakening leaders so that they can become worth following to the people, so that they can achieve business success, but also have their teams fulfilled and happy, so that they're not working for a paycheck. They're being invited into the vision. They have fulfillment and they're moving the business towards that vision, so that you're not the only one working towards getting that happening, making that happen. You've got a team of people who are also invested in making that happen. That's what I do. I want to thank you for this time. I'm going to stop sharing here. I would love to hear if you have any thoughts. I'd love to hear your questions, and I'd love to answer those questions if you have them. Is it okay if I stop the share here, Lola?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Oh, actually, you know what? It doesn't matter because I'm not seeing the participants anyways. So that's okay.
Okay.
Please let me know if there are any questions.
Again, feel free to use the Q&A box to ask any of your questions. And while we wait for some questions, thank you, Jacqueline, for that wonderful presentation. It was very informative. We have our Business Worth Luncheon next week, Wednesday. So if you're not registered for that yet, make sure to do that. And then we also have some webinars coming up in July as well. So make sure you go to west.ca/events to look at our upcoming events coming up.
I would
Now,
also like to invite, if you don't mind, Lola, I would love to invite all of you. Just connect with me. Let's have a chat. Let's get to know one another. Let's have a networking session and let's have a one-to-one. So if any of you are interested in having a one-to-one, I will reach out as well because I would love to have that one-to-one with you. Get to know a little bit more about your business, have you get to know a little bit more about what I do. I would love to know what your greatest takeaway from our time together is. So please feel free to put that in the chat. What is your number one takeaway that you're leaving with? If you don't have any questions or any questions, please feel free to do that. And I would like to encourage you. Last time that I did a presentation, I had somebody that say to me, Jacqueline, when you invited us for a one-to-one, I thought, really? You want a one-to-one? Okay. And I just kind of like, okay. So she sent me a message and she goes, oh my gosh, and you actually responded and you said that you would have that one-to-one. Of course. Of course. So please don't feel shy. I'd love to get to know you, meet with you on a one-to-one over Zoom.
wonderful.
Any
We'll,
takeaways?
yeah, we'll leave a little bit of 30 seconds for anyone to share their takeaways or to have chance to ask any questions.
I'm going to turn off this share, stop the share.
If there are no questions for today, then I will be ending the webinar, but I will put Jacqueline's contact information in the follow-up email that's going out with the recording. And just like she said, she's very willing to do a one-to-one. So if you want to connect with Jacqueline, make sure to send her an email. Thank you all for joining our webinar for today, and we hope to see you in future West webinars. Have a wonderful day, everybody.